Yes, indeed, Monty. Another episode of Get Found,
And be seen.
the Christmas
The Christmas
edition.
special. Hmm.
Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho. Monty, are you cold over there? You warming yourself up?
It looks a little cold in here. That's a big wood stove, I'll tell you what.
I plan to have one of those bad boys in my whether my conversion van or schoolie. If I'm not sure if I ever told you about that, I have to tell you about that sometime. One of
Yeah,
one of my goals.
awesome.
I
You got some intent on that, do you?
have some intent. I sure do. And I proclaim it. And it's with energy.
Indeed. I haven't seen much of what you do that does not contain energy.
Monty, because that's what I do. You got to put energy into what you do. If not, man, go take a nap.
Get some energy.
Get some energy. I don't need a nap. Ready to bring it every time.
That's right. I think that the camera conditions you. Camera turns on, and so does Carl.
Boom. That's right. And you're trained, as a performing artist, you're trained from a young age with that. You got to be
Oh, I bet.
on, on. Lights, camera, action, baby. Let's go. Or showtime, or 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever prompt you're going to get. You got to be ready.
Yep, not me. That's I it took me a while to get into this position.
Mm.
So I don't have that kind of background. My background is basically hanging out with Carl and figuring out how to present myself respectfully.
That's right. And turn up the heat. Turn it up.
With
Well,
all I get a little more
well,
practice. I'd be like Stephen Lai, our last guest. He said he's a professional hand pointer.
professional hand points. I know now it's this right here, depending on how my screen is.
Right, right.
Uh, there you go. Turn up the heat. So, Monty, today we're talking about being intentional. Perfect time as it's the end of the year. Also, it's Christmas, and it's a time where, people are kind of just in relaxation mode, which is fine, which is a good thing, actually.
Sure.
But we could even do that and be intentional at the same time.
Yeah. You can actually intend to be relaxed.
Right. Which is important. It's important especially for business owners. You got to take that time to relax, enjoy, reflect, recharge. And for some people, reinvent. I'm a fan of that. Reinventing myself.
Yep. Yep. This new year, how do I want to present myself?
That's
And
right.
it's kind of people think, oh well, I just want to relax. I why do I need to think about it? Why do I need to be intentional about it? And it's just kind of it's one of those things. If you do something on a regular basis, you don't have to think about it. So part of it's making it a habit. That way you don't have to sit down and think intentionally. What if you could just naturally think intentionally?
Yes. I
So
love the
it's
sound of that.
it's the idea of every time I get out of my car, I lock the door. But I'm just running into my house and coming back out. I know, but I don't think about it. I lock the door. Then I don't have, did I lock the door? Yeah, I did. I know I did because I lock the door every time. I
Right.
intentionally lock the door, even if I'm coming right back out.
Right. And that's cool because you could make that into a routine. You
Right.
know,
And therefore, like I said, when I get to that point, I go inside and I'm like, oh, did I lock my door? I don't even have to ask. It's like, of course I did. Yeah, I did. I don't need to even double check.
right? It takes brain power. And it's interesting, little things like that, it's easy not to pay attention to or take for granted until you're in that situation. But if you intentionally have that routine, you're good to go. You ain't got to think about it. What's next? Bring it on.
Yep. Save that little bit of mental power.
Right, right. And so intentionality is important for every area of our lives, in my opinion. life, personal life, family, business, connecting with relatives, and engaging in your community. Intentionality is so important.
Yeah, it's you don't want to be doing everything by accident.
Right. Can you imagine that?
Well, I mean, some things happen that way. It's not like we're
Right.
saying, everything has to be planned,
Right.
but if you are intending to do something, then it is a proactive instead of a reactive of now I have to do this thing.
Right. But can you imagine that everything is done by accident? That'd be tough.
That would be tough. It'd be difficult to appease hunger if it was just random. Man, I sure am hungry. Oh, some food came by. Thank God.
Right.
No, no,
Oh,
no.
oops. Oops, I
I'm
just fell into
hungry.
some food.
I think I'm going to go find some food.
Right.
There's the intent.
There is the intent. Love it.
And of course,
Love it.
that's pretty basic stuff. And when you're in business and you're trying to establish your authority, it's not just a yes or no, cut and dry. I intend to establish my authority. Okay, I'm done.
Right.
But, like with climbing a mountain, you don't just, yeah, I'm going to climb up to the top. Now I'm done. You've got your staging camp, and you got to wait for the right weather, and you got to have your people with you, and you got to have your right equipment, and you have to intentionally put all those things in the right order
Right.
to make it happen.
Right.
You don't accidentally make it to the top of the mountain.
Right. I think about being a performing artist. If I had to go out and do a gala performance at a gala, right? It's a black tie affair. And I wasn't thinking about it. And all I had was a purple or blue suit. I would stand out like a sore thumb
If they let you in.
if they let me in. And if they do let me in, uh-oh, I'm gonna look really silly being on stage performing, person in blue while everyone else is in black.
Although you could look at that as intentional. You could intentionally wear the blue
I could,
because you want to stand out.
because I want to stand out, right? Right. Or I might be one also doing a speech, so therefore I wear something special, blue.
But it's that taking conscious thought and mapping it out. I think that's what, doing something with intent is like saying I'm mapping it out. This is
Right.
how I would like it to go.
Right.
And as long as you can be flexible with that, you can attain your goal. Maybe you need to take a different route. But, if you went into it with less intent, then obstacles might stop you. When you
Right.
go in with great intent, then an obstacle is just a slight setback, and you find another way of doing it because you have that intent. If you're just like,
Right.
oh well, let's see if we can make this happen. Oh, we can't. You're just easily discouraged.
Right. That's the word, that word right there. That phrase, easily discouraged. I had a few conversations this week with people talking about goals and where they wanted to go. And the conversations went like, hey, it's just hard to set what I want to do. But it also came from a place of not feeling confident in what they wanted to accomplish. But the thing is, when you're in when you're intentional, you empower yourself and you're able to get that confidence to step forward into the place you need to be in because you set your mind. Like you're literally deciding to consciously focus on what needs to get done and then think about the steps that need to take place and stepping out, stepping towards those steps, you know. So my conversations this week with those individuals it was great. For me, it was just reminding me that this topic of intentionality is so important and that anyone can get to get that skill set, can have that ability, this skill set, discipline, whatever you want to call it, can have that ability to be intentional. But it just reminded me of how important it is to be able to have this discussion.
And what you were saying there made me think on how intentionality is not necessarily a plan. So
Yeah.
it's an interesting distinction because you can have a plan, and if you follow the plan without intentionality, you may get to the end, you may have the result, but I would dare say that you're going to get better results and feel better about it if you do the whole plan with intent. And conversely is you can have that intent and figure out the plan because you have so much intent.
Right, right. Wait, you use that word expectation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My son just yelled. He's gaming right now, so he's in gaming land. So I heard when you said that.
Yes,
Um,
expectations.
it's funny you said that. That's my word for 2024. That is my word, expectation. I'm fired up about that word, by the way, too. I know we're talking about intentionality. I know it's parallel to it. But yeah, it's important. It empowers you. I'm gonna stick to that word, intentionality. It empowers you. It gives you confidence to step forward into that place you need to be for yourself and other people around you, whether it's your family or team or whomever.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a mindset. It's not, we apply it to actions, but it's not an action into itself.
Right. Right.
I think that's the key, is that let me just analyze my actions and make sure that my mindset is aligning with my actions, or my actions are aligning with my mindset is probably the better way to put it. Just make
Hmm.
sure that what I'm doing is really going to get me where I want to go
Right.
with the least amount of resistance.
Yeah. There it is. Yeah.
There's a lot of paths that will get you to the goal, but I would again dare say that most people would prefer the path with the least resistance. Be water, my friend.
Mm. Yes. I know. Okay. Okay.
You caught that reference there?
Bruce
That
Lee. Come on
Yeah,
now.
yeah. That was a
Let's
great
go.
interview. I liked that. So the path of least resistance. So be water.
Be water. I prefer that than be flexible. I mean, be flexible is cool too, but be water. Be
Yeah.
water. Flow with it. Man, that's a good one.
Take the path of least resistance.
Take the
To a point,
path.
you know,
Right.
again, let's go to my topic of balance.
Balance.
It's like, well, you don't just necessarily take the least resistance all the time. It's the least resistance that gives you the result that you want.
Right.
Because if you take the path of least resistance every time, you're not going to get the results that you want.
Yeah. Right.
So that's that. Identify. So you can be intentional on your least resistance.
Now, when you identify, you are being intentional. Ah,
Right. Yes. That's one of the steps.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, identifying, having that clear vision. And we talk about SMART goals too. Haha.
Yeah. The classic acronym, which I actually hadn't run across until just in this last year or so. I mean, there's so many tons of inspirational stuffs and breakdowns of communication styles and personality styles and all that stuff. But the SMART
Right.
one's pretty darn good, that we set specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound goals. So we're
Mm-hmm.
all talking about setting goals, which we identified as one form of intent.
Right. Right.
And
I
those
love I,
those to set a goal, if you can make sure that it's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound, then you have a well-rounded goal. You have set a goal with intent.
you have set a goal with intent. Well said, my friend. That's
That's
true.
that's a good way of, yeah. A SMART goal is a goal with intent. Whereas, hey, I want to be famous. Hey, I want a Lamborghini.
I want to make $1 million.
Hey, I want to, even if it's, I want to go swimming at the swimming hole. All right, well, you know, when? For how long? With who? How are you going to get there? Without
Mm-hmm.
those questions, you're not going to go swimming at the hole.
Right. Set yourself up well intentionally. And I tell you what, when you do it intentionally, you will show up happier. I guarantee you. You won't, less stress, less frustration with yourself and other people. Intentional.
Yeah, what is that? That saying is a little parallel with it, not quite the exact thing, but meticulous planning can make one seem spontaneous.
Ooh.
So there's that. If you have good intent and you map everything out, then other people don't know all the work that you put in, all that
Right.
intent. They just see the result. And to them, this guy's great. Comes up off the top of his head.
Right.
Little did they know that you spent 2 weeks coming up with that.
Right. You were super intentional, came up, it took 2 weeks. You put that work in. It's well worth it.
And then you showed up and you were confident and you had your ducks in a row and you presented in a way that made it seem like, God, this guy just threw this together. No, I didn't throw it together, but it took him no time. He does it with ease.
I like that. With
That's another one, a
ease.
good thing. Yeah, yeah. But doing things intentionally makes them seem more natural.
Right. Right. I also think about Monty putting the energy behind it. Putting energy behind it. Like, and this, of course, this is one of my favorite ones, right, Monty? Putting that enthusiastic energy behind it. I was thinking about that financial analyst, Jim Cramer. You know, I'm I don't even follow everything he talks about. A lot of stuff I don't follow. I ain't gonna lie. But I tell you what, the way he shows up, that man is enthusiastic with what he talks about. It seems like he's having a conversation. He seems like he's about to explode. He's that excited and enthusiastic about it. And I think about that and I'm like, okay, well, that's how I want to be being intentional, showing up, being excited about it because it's like you're on fire and you're able to be motivated yourself, right? Because when whether you're achieving a goal or whatever you're trying to accomplish, it's easy to have those valleys. But if you show up enthusiastic and you're enthusiastically intentional, it's different. That's a whole different level right there. And you're able to impact, your family, your friends, your team, work, your team, whomever, people who are working for you, or even your clients. You show up enthusiastic and you're intentional about it. What? People love to be around people like that.
Yeah, I was at just a little market yesterday, and the guy behind the counter was so uncharacteristic. He totally just started a conversation. I mean, not your checkout line conversation where it's like, "Oh, how is the weather? How you doing today? Got any plans? Oh, that's nice." This guy was like, "Hey, you getting any food with that?" No. Oh, okay. Well, you got plans? What, you going somewhere? What's going on today?
Mm,
I was like, "Oh, I was kind of taken back. I'm
yeah.
like, oh, and so then my thoughts like, well, I'll answer this question, we'll be done. He'll take my money and I'll walk away. So I was like, no, no, I just visited my mom and I'm just going to be heading home. It's like, oh, wow, so you don't live here? How often do you visit your mom? Oh,
Mm,
I'm down here every week. It's like, oh, wow, that's really cool. You haven't stopped in before. I haven't met you. My name's Josh. Sticks his
mm,
hand out.
wow.
So there's that intent. He came to work with intent. He came to work with passion. And even though he's
Hmm.
working at this little tiny store, a little tiny market that has, you know, one guy cooking some food and one guy running the register, and then you've got your soda pop and chips and stuff. And here he is. asking. And it wasn't just, like I said, not like in the grocery store where they just have person after person after person. They just have these rhetorical lines that they're saying, and they don't really, and they're the same questions. So it's
Right.
like you're not really interested in that person. You're just trying to be conversational,
Right.
and he was asking me specific questions based on my answers, not just going
Right.
on to his next rhetorical question.
Right.
It stood
Agreed.
out. That really stood out to me. When I got out to my car, I actually thought about it more. It's like, man, that guy is like super friendly.
Yeah. Changing the world.
And I'm more inclined to go back.
Good point.
It's
Good
and
point.
and conversely, there was another market a few weeks back I went to, and I just needed a water. I needed water really bad. So I stopped at this little fast mart or something. And I went in there, and the girl behind the counter there was like, I don't think she said a single word. I don't even know if she smiled.
Mm.
And I
Yeah.
left, and I literally, as I was walking out the door, I'm like, I'm not coming back here.
Yeah.
I literally said that to myself. I said, I don't want to come back here. I
Wow.
felt kind of like I was disturbing this person
Mm.
because they had to put
Well,
down their phone to
right.
take my money for my water.
How dare.
I know that's what it felt like. So that's why then conversely, I get this guy, and it's like, wow, just that intent. She had nothing. He had lots. Boom.
Right.
Although she's almost just as memorable,
Yeah.
but not memorable in the way that you want.
In the way that you want. As I charge my webcam, aka phone, cell phone, making the edge. Ah, there we
I,
go.
I, I
Ah,
like since we have our nifty backgrounds, it changes how your camera works.
it does, huh? Trying to.
Because now the camera is zooming in and it's just your microphone.
Oh, that's cool. That is really cool.
Fun stuff. Technology. I
Tech,
love it.
technology.
I love it.
Love it, love it, love
And
it.
and the line between love and hate's very small.
Thin line between love and hate. Thin. But yeah, loving this topic, Monty. Intentionality, big deal.
Yes. Yes,
Mm,
indeed. I think that pretty well covers the basis of it, though. I mean, we could talk about examples and ways to apply it and that sort of thing, but I'd be more of a master class anyway.
right. I think it kind of wraps it up and puts it in a bow tie.
Yeah. Yeah. Just that. Here it is, end of the year. That's a good time to be contemplating. It's like, all right, for this past year, what kind of intent level did I have with what I was doing? And where did that give me? Or where did that get me? What kind of result did that give me?
Right,
And so once you identify that, then you can apply the knowledge to this coming up year and say, all right, I want to maintain that, or I want to improve that. I want to take this area and improve that so that I can get these results, either the
right,
same as I was getting or better, or maybe you're one of those people who's like, oh man, that was too good. I need to tone it down. I don't want as much. I need less next year.
right.
Doubtful, but maybe there is somebody out there.
Yeah, some people might have been doing too much. Might have overdid it with their schedules, etc.
Well, and I guess there is that aspect of it. I was being a little facetious and sarcastic about, hey, I don't want to make more money. Hey, I don't want to improve myself. Hey, I don't want my life to be better.
I'm
But
happy
there
now
is
as I
that
am.
you can identify, hey, I didn't reach the results I wanted. Things weren't quite as wonderful as I wanted them to be. So
Right,
if I keep doing the same things I've been doing, I can expect those same results.
right
So by
on.
identifying the things that you've been doing and the results you've been getting, at least gives you that first step of, do I want to continue with what I'm doing or do I want to change?
Right, right. I love that first step. And then I'll say this too. I know wrapping up the topic, but intentionality, it is, and you alluded to this too, but it is a first step, but it's a very important first step.
Yeah, it's not a
Very,
mandatory first step. It's
mm,
a strategic first step.
hmm, That's
because people
true.
go through life without intent all the time.
Oh yeah.
They
Yeah.
just, I need to go to work. I need to go to lunch. I need to go home and feed the cat. I need to do all these things. And they're just doing them. There's no
Right.
real intent to them because it's just the way life is, or it's just what's expected of me.
Right. That's true. That's a good one. Strategic first step.
Yep. And it's an intentional first step.
Right. And we got to keep that too, Monty. Let's hold on to that. Strategic first step. I love
Yep.
that.
Well, it's a good thing that's recorded then.
Right on. Oh,
Awesome.
so we have anything special to tell our audience, Monty? It's the end of the year. It's, to keep things simple. I mean, my thing is just, hey, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, celebrate. However you celebrate, we hope you enjoy. Not sure what you have to share with the world.
There is that. There's always that. It's the holidays. There's different kinds of holidays for different kinds of people. Doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter which name and which day, just happy holidays. But I think that I'm going to reiterate what I just said a moment ago.
Mm,
If you analyze your year and what you did and the results it gave you, that's just powerful. Even if you don't act on it, if you just identify that, this upcoming year will be just a little bit easier.
right,
Maybe, I mean, I don't know which way to be easier, but if, again, on a map, if you're trying to get somewhere, if you don't know where you are on the map, you can't map. So look back on this past year. What did
right,
I do? What results did that give me? Am I satisfied?
right. Right on.
And that answer will tell you loads.
Sure will. I agree 100%. Identify. Look back. I'm gonna do the same thing. I've already done it, but I'm gonna do it more because I'm just excited. You know what? I'm excited about the new year, yeah, but I'm excited about just the end of the year. I'm excited about just reflection and the different things I want to do. And my word is expectation. So I look forward to diving into that.
Well, the year's not over. We got to wrap it up.
It's not
So we got to
over.
wrap it up.
As the song goes, it's not over. The party's not over.
No, sir.
Thanks for tuning in, y'all. Another episode of
Yes.
Get Found.
Be seen.